everyone here, guys? Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. Empezar la tercera edición del debate de Montessori, el debate anual de Montessori. Tenemos el tercer año acá. Yay! Come on. Third year. Good. Senior 4, cuarto año. Cuarto. Come on, cuarto. Quinto. Ok, so bienvenidos a todos. Para contarle a quienes no están acá o quienes no forman parte de debate, de la clase de debate, todos los años hacemos este debate interhouses. Damos la materia de debate, la tenemos en cuarto y quinto año, por eso están los chicos de cuarto y de quinto que hoy van a presentar sus debates, y además los chicos de tercero van a hacer la parte inicial del evento. En unos momentos vamos a comenzar con tercer año. Va a ser así, vamos a tener tercer año, dos alumnos de tercero A, de tercero A y dos alumnos de tercero B, presentando for y against una resolución. La resolución ahora la comentamos. Luego vamos a tener break y después del break, después del recreo, vamos a tener los debates interhouses. Primero cuarto año, que van a debatir su resolución. En ese caso son dos casas. A lo largo del año, los chicos de cuarto año, para los chicos de tercero que van a tener debate el año que viene, los chicos de cuarto año trabajan debates entre las casas en el aula y hacen una ronda completa de debates entre casas, cada casa contra las otras dos, siempre un debate distinto. Se juntan puntos, quedan primer lugar, segundo lugar, y el primer y el segundo lugar tienen un debate final acá, interhouses, y entonces quien gana el debate de hoy es la casa que queda en primer lugar en esa categoría, en cuarto año. Y luego de ese debate tenemos algo parecido, pero con quinto año, que ya es su segundo año haciendo debate. En su caso hacen dos rondas de debates y se juntan todos los puntos. Así que vamos a tener el debate final de cuarto y de quinto después del recreo. ¿Okay? Lo que vamos a empezar ahora es la primera parte, que es el debate de tercero. Lo explico brevemente en castellano para quienes lo están mirando. Los chicos prepararon una resolución, un tema. Este no es una competencia interhouses, los chicos van a hacer su presentación. Tenemos dos alumnos de tercero A que están a favor de la resolución que es Teenagers should have after school work. Roughly speaking, sería algo así como que los adolescentes tendrían que tener algún trabajo después de la escuela. Okay? And these guys are for. Ellos están a favor. And Lucía and Juan, estos son Isabela y Stefano de tercero A favor. Lucía y Juan de tercero B están en contra. Ellos van a hacer su presentación, van a tener 5 minutos cada uno, cada equipo, para hacer su presentación. Cuando ellos han terminado sus presentaciones, entonces podemos abrir el juego para los presentes para ver si están de acuerdo, si no, por qué quieren hacer una pregunta o un comentario. Okay? Good? Okay, so now I'm going to switch to English, and we're going to kick off the first event, and we're going to have Isabela and Stefano on behalf of third A for the resolution teenagers should have after school works. Guys, you have 5 minutes.
All right. Well, first of all, we would like to clarify that our position is more like they should have an after-school work if they want to. If not, we would think it's okay because, after all, your teenage years should be mostly to enjoy. You will have enough time to work as an adult, and so it shouldn't be as necessary. But if you were to choose to have an after-school work, it would have a series of advantages. Mainly, you would have financial independence, which means you would earn money for yourself, which you could use for whatever you want to use it. Not having to depend on certain things not having to depend on your parents for certain things. Also, it would give you a degree of problem-solving skills. If you have a problem at work, it's a problem you may have at a later job in your life. And so you would gain experience as to how to solve it in the future. Now, Isabela is going to detail some other advantages.
So, as well as Stefano, my partner, said, after school work may really help teenagers gain experience for future jobs, as well as um, they may learn how to manage their own time and money. And socially speaking, they will it will really help them get along with other people that do not belong to their usual social environment. Would you like to add something?
Thank you.
I
Oh,
think
go ahead, go ahead.
I think another thing it could also help you is maybe this job after school may count as some sort of credit for a future job. That's something I wanted to add.
Thank you. All right, so now Juan and Lucia, on behalf of Third B, you're going to have your 5 minutes to present against the resolution teenagers should have after school work. Go ahead. Up. Yeah.
On?
Yep.
Okay, so I them, I partially agree with them. They're not wrong, but there are okay here. There's some bad things about having after school work, like more stress. You you will just leave school for more work, and that will just ruin your experience of for work and school because you will have to stay up late and keep doing homework and some work in general, and that will affect your sleep time. So it also gives you a bad impression of work because imagine you work for someone with a bad reputation or something you don't like. You might also get harassed right there, like sexually harassed, which will need special treatment to get over. And how was it? Let me catch my words 1 second. Okay, yeah, they lose opportunities because it'll give them a bad impression of work, like too many hours of work, homework, and not so much time to sleep or do things you like playing video games, and too much. If you have extra money for working, you might get like stressed about it and choose the wrong options, like drinking alcohol or other worse things. Yeah. 1 second. It's stressful in general. You wouldn't like to work 24/7 because it'll get you tired from it, and in the future, you might have more opportunities for work, but you won't like to work. You you won't want to do anything of that.
Lou wants to add something.
Yes, basically is that it might affect you personally, your personal life, student life, and it's difficult to do some activities you do as a teenager, like joining and sports. Also, it might affect your social life, and you can be isolated sometimes. Um, but seems that
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
like that.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Most importantly, with the, um,
Excuse me. Should I use this? Okay. Can I borrow your microphone? Thank you. So you're going to use this one now? Yeah? There.
hi. Okay. We think that part-time jobs, like people who work 20 hours a week, and their studies could be affected because they have lower rates in school than people who work 10 hours like teenagers. So it it is um, like an whole experience to start working as a teenager. Yes, that is our opinion.
Okay, great. Good points. Thank you. All right. Big applause for all the both presentations, guys. Now, thank you both teams for your presentations. Now I'm going to open it to people in the audience who might want to ask a question from you guys or add any comments. Who would like to kick it off? Rocco? I thought you were, I saw you raise your hand. Who would like to add some comments or ask some questions? Guys? Yes? Juli?
I agree with Isabel and Stefano.
Uh-huh.
The way I see it, an after school work could help you to decide your future career or what you like or dislike as well.
And thank you. Okay. Cool. Guys, you're welcome to Isabella and Stefano and Lu and Juan. You're welcome to answer to any of the comments you hear, okay? If you hear something and say, well, I would like to refute that, you can do that. Who else would like to add a comment? Third B? Guys? Would you like to ask a question? Do you guys agree with the points made here? You would like to ask a comment. Very good. I'll hold it for you. Well, you tell.
Right, so yes, it can get you more chances for better work, but you won't like to work anymore since you will get, how is it? Yeah, stressed and burned out from work.
Thank you. All right. Who else would like to ask a question or a comment? Guys? Would you like to elaborate on that? The burning out?
I partially agree with you too. It could bring some negative consequences, but I think the way you are describing it is a tad bit pessimistic. Maybe you won't have to go through all of those things you said. It is mostly chance, and you could also, look into the job you're about to get into to see if the person in charge has a shady reputation or something of the like. What do you think?
Totally agree.
Thank you. If anyone would like to ask a question or make a comment, you just need to raise your hands. And actually, fourth year and fifth year, you're welcome to add anything you would like. Were you listening to the presentations, to the reasons why you should work after school, why you shouldn't? If I see any hands up, that means you would like to say something. Who would like to make a comment or ask a question? Come on, we've been discussing this in class. Third A, third B, we've been chatting about it. Guys? No comments? Well, in that case, I'm going to give both teams 1 more minute to wrap up their thoughts, their conclusions, and that's going to close the presentations, okay? Who would like to go first? It's just 1 more minute to wrap up your thoughts. For or against? Yes? Them first? Okay. So you got 1 minute to wrap up your thoughts in the best way you can. Go ahead.
Basically, we were talking about some consequences teenagers may experience as they work after school. Yes. We work on 3 points. First, less time to study, but it's basically don't having time to do homework and daily activities like sports or after school classes, and then negative impressions of work, like, for example, don't having like people giving yes giving you a lot of work, or sometimes it could be like over exploitation in minors. Yes. Yes. Maybe they use opportunity to made relations with age. Yes. And indoor activities teenagers do daily. Something.
Alright, so what Isabel and Stefano said, they're not wrong. Working as a teenager can get you more chances, but I generally feel that if you're already stressed enough with school, I do not recommend working already.
Okay, thank you. And now, guys, one more minute to wrap up your thoughts.
Okay, so our
Sorry, use this one.
so our conclusion is that even though the things Fran and Lucia said could happen, they're a possibility, and on top of that, a possibility that has a solution most of the time. And we still think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, the potential disadvantages.
And also the decision of having or not an after school job, it should be up to everyone's opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. Guys, thank you very much for both presentations. Big applause for both teams. Very interesting points. Very well-educated points. Guys, I'm going to switch to Spanish. Muchas congratulations a los dos equipos. Muy bien preparados, se los vio muy bien, puntos muy interesantes. Quiero contarles a todos, se sentían un poquito incómodos y nerviosos al principio, pero bien ahí. Okay, so big applause to third year. Thank you for your presentations. This is going to conclude our first event. Esto termina la primera parte del evento. Chicos, son bienvenidos a quedarse para mirar los debates interhouses de cuarto y quinto luego. Okay? Muchas gracias a todos. Gracias, guys. And we conclude this part. We're going to take a break now. Okay. So, guys, welcome back. Bienvenidos después del recreo. Hablo en castellano por si hay alguien en casa mirando. Ahora vamos a pasar a la segunda parte del evento, que es los interhouses. En el curso de debate, los chicos en cuarto y en quinto año realizan debates interhouses en el aula. Es decir, que preparan una resolución para debatir y una casa debate contra la otra y contra la otra hasta que se complete una ronda. En el caso del cuarto año hacen una ronda completa de debates y de esos debates se puntean en función de 4 categorías y se calculan los puntos, se suman todos y entonces a las casas que quedan primero y segundo lugar quedan como finalistas para este interhouses. Este año, en el caso del cuarto año, las casas finalistas son White House and Yellow House. Aplausos if you like. Come on, chicos, aplausos. White House y Yellow House quedaron finalistas en cuarto año. Y hoy van a debatir la resolución Parents should control their children's activities on social media. Los padres, bueno, igual después lo explicamos, ¿no? Sí, nuestros hijos. Okay. So, White House and Yellow House, esta parte la va a moderar Ana, mi compañera de debate de quinto año. Y, bueno, they're all yours.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you're doing fine. Okay. Well, let's start with a debate, the final debate of fourth year, right? Congratulations for being here. As Esteban said, the resolution they're going to debate is parents should control their children's activities on social media, right? Well, we have on the affirmative side, the White House. Speaker number one would be Lorenzo Moresino, and speaker number 2, Octavio Sachnik. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Well, and on the negative side, that is the house which believes that parents should not control their children's activities on social media, we have the Yellow House. Speaker number 1 is Ignacio Redlich, and speaker number 2, Mora Marchioni, right? Okay.
Excuse me, I think it's Ignacio Tondelli. Redlich? Okay, sorry, my bad.
Well, okay. At the beginning of the debate, each house will have 1 minute to introduce their opening statements, the affirmative and negative sides. Then each speaker will have 2 minutes to present their first argument, then 3 minutes to present their second argument and any refutations if they would like to add one, and then a third argument. And we will conclude with a closing statement for each of the houses, right? Well, hope you enjoy. Let's start with the affirmative side. We are going to listen to Lorenzo.
Hello and welcome to this debate. Thank you for your attendance. So we are going to debate why it is important that parents control the social media of their children, and we are going to show you that it's healthy and helps our children develop healthy.
Nowadays, social media is an activity used by most of teenagers. It is normal that parents want to control their children, but we really believe that it's not the best idea. And we have different reasons why you should not be controlling your child's social activity.
Well, the first idea that I can say is that social media have a lot of dangers. For example, the pedophiles, the men, the the old men that like young men. It's a danger that child should avoid. So the father should intervene in this type of things. Uh, and there's also stalkers that are the ones that talk to young child without their consent sin su consentimiento and este, and the cyberbullying. There's also childs that were bullied by the social media with I don't know. Uh, they get insulted.
Um, we believe that we should we should not control our children's social activity because we they need to build trustworthy relationships between the parents and their sons and daughters. If you give them respect and trust, and you say to them that you trust that they will use this kind of tool in a healthy and good way, you're giving them responsibility and for them to handle it for the future. Um, Also, they need to be independent and control themselves with it. So, if you talk to them and give them talks and try to explain to them why it's um, important to use it well, um, they'll understand it and they'll make a proper use of it by themselves. Thank you.
Some of you may think that seeing your child in social media is invading and private, but you can vigilate and see what are they doing without being invasive. You can see their messages or their friends, or maybe something more light, like I don't know, say them to change their configuration of their profile in Instagram to be more private, or have them as a contact. They may. This is a. It's a. It's a precaution that is non-invasive and gives the child an independence to take their own decisions. So your child might not feel so invaded and have a more free feeling while being responsible, and you having a check in their activities in the social media.
It is important to respect your child privacy. Otherwise, your child will start losing trust in you. Uh, he will feel uncomfortable telling you things about lives, and you will not be seen as fair resource to try to talk about the struggles and problems. Also, he will start hiding things and lie to you, uh, don't telling you what have he do or what goes, for example, or don't tell the truth about some things. Um, some people want to be free, so you have to respect their decisions and let them what they want to do. It is better if the parents and are not constantly controlling what their children do, and always if always he is mature and he is responsible about their actions.
Well, as Nacho says, it's not about living absolute freedom or spying on anything that comes out of your phone. Parents must know who their children are related to, what they content they access and define their use in some way. In any case, as the expert point out, it's also depend a lot of the personality of your children. All parents know which children are more prudent and those who always play it to them limit. Between 18 and 15 years of age, the digital socialization of adolescents occurs, but in up to 62% of the cases, there is still parental control in some sense. However, from the age of 16, the limits becomes more lax and the use of the mobile responds to a mutual trust between parents and children.
So, um, as many parents, they're in the age of 45 or 50, they do not understand how teenagers use social media, and they might get confused with the kind of communication that is taken there. The age gap is it's wide, and they will not understand how it's used, and when they get to control and to see their social medias, they might get they might get nervous with what they find there. One of the most used apps by teenagers is Instagram, and there is an 18% of adults that use it. And so it's hard for them to really know what to look for when they start revising their teenagers' accounts. So it will be hard for them to control them in that way and to really understand what they do there.
Now each house will have 1 minute to present their statement. Lorenzo?
We have to have a concept in our mind that is that technology evolves rapidly. For example, in the 1990s, there were the chat rooms. In the 2000s, there was MySpace and Messenger. And now there's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and a lot of them. Technology changed rapidly. New features, new platforms, new friends, and new threats. So we need to be prepared to update our um, strategies to be more secure in the web. We need to be updated of what are the new threats, new applications, new advances. Because if we live in the past, we are not going to respond to a new world, and the and we are putting in danger our children to this new era.
It is necessary to show your children how important it is to respect the privacy of the people. When privacy is lost, respect disappears, and without respect, there is no coexistence. So you need to set an example and give them tools to form healthy relationship, being a role model for them. In consequence, your child will know how he have to treat the people and respect their spaces, being a better person.
Okay, thank you, all of you. Let's clap for. You've been
Okay, good job, guys. Good job, the affirmative house. Good job, the negative house. Now we're going to give the judges a couple of minutes to make a decision. Ahora los jueces, los jurados, me olvidé de presentarlas. Silvina y Romy, big applause, guys. Thank you for your cooperation. Gracias por la ayuda, chicas. Miss Silvina y Miss Romy van a tomarse un par de minutos para ponerles puntaje con la planilla que utilizamos en la clase, que evalúa distintas destrezas de la comunicación, evalúa la preparación del debate, la solidez de los argumentos, la refutación cruzada, y les van a poner un puntaje en eso. Vamos a sumar todos los puntos y vamos a ver cuál de las dos casas ganó. Guys, congrats, good job, good job.
Bueno, otro aspecto a tener
You
en
managed to do it.
cuenta es que hoy no solamente estamos escuchando 4 speakers que lo hicieron increíble, sino también que hay un trabajo grupal detrás, el libreto de investigación, y bueno, son las dos casas que se evalúan, ¿no?
Y que no siempre es fácil. Hoy, por ejemplo, faltó un speaker de una de las casas que tuvo que irse porque no se sentía bien, y a último momento era difícil encontrar quién tenía que reemplazarlo. A veces es fácil organizar el trabajo en equipo, otras no tanto, pero bueno, eso también se aprende y lo vamos aprendiendo como podemos en la escuela. Así que gracias por el reemplazo. Good job. So let's see. Romy and Sil, how are we looking?
Okay, well, listen to the scores the judges have given to each house, okay?
¿Tiene puntaje?
Escuchar los resultados.
Okay. You want to tell us?
Okay, and the winner is a White House, yes, with 24 points, yes, versus Yellow House with 19 points.
24-19, guys. Congratulations, White House.
Congratulations, White House.
Would you please stand up? Would you please stand up? Come over here. Octavio, Lolo, Ignacio, Mora. Come on. So, muchas felicidades, chicos. Congratulations. Good job, guys. Good job, good job. Si están acá es porque hicieron toda una cantidad de debates en el aula, llegaron a la final y se prepararon mucho, así que buen trabajo los dos. En la semana vamos a estar dando los certificados para las casas, así que finalmente, después lo repasamos al final del evento, pero la Casa Blanca queda en primer lugar este año, Interhouse es de cuarto, la Casa Amarilla queda en segundo lugar y la Casa Verde, que hizo un trabajo bárbaro en el aula también, en tercer lugar este año. Good job, guys. Congrats. Y ahora vamos a tomarnos unos minutos para prepararnos para el final evento, que es quinto año, chicos. Quédense para mirarlo. Great job. Now that everybody's ready. Ahora que están todos listos. Are we? Yeah? Okay. So, llegamos a la última parte del evento. Muchas gracias por mirar el anterior, por quedarse hasta ahora y por el trabajo realizado. Ahora va a ser el último debate, el de quinto año. Quinto tuvo debate el año pasado en cuarto año y tuvo debate de vuelta este año. Y este año realizaron 2 rondas completas de debate en el aula. Por eso están preparados distintos. Y esta es la última vez que tienen la oportunidad de hacer esto. Porque el año que viene ya no tienen debate. Así que disfrútenlo, buen laburo y bueno, suerte. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. See you on the other side.
Yes, first of all, congratulations for reaching this stage, right? Well, today we're going to listen to the finalists of 5th year, which are the White House over here and the Green House. They are going to debate their resolution. Schools should take a zero-tolerance approach towards bullying. And the White House will be on the affirmative side. That is, that schools should take a zero-tolerance approach towards bullying. Speaker number 1 is Joaquín de la Calle, and speaker 2, Valentina Velarducci. On the greenhouse, the negative side, that schools should not take a zero-tolerance approach towards bullying, we are going to listen to Delfina Lapetini as speaker number 1, and Candelaria Tarelli as speaker number 2. Okay, great. Well, yes. Well, now we are going to listen to their opening statements. Then each house will have 2 minutes to present their first argument. Then they're going to present their second and third argument and any refutations or rebuttals if you'd like to add one. And of course, the closure for the debate, right? So let's listen first to the White House, the affirmative side. Joaquin, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon to everyone. We are the White House, and we are going to be talking about why schools should take a zero-tolerance behavior against bullying. You know, as probably all of you already know, bullying can have serious consequences on a person. But firstly, it can affect a child. It can affect from the way they see themselves to how they interact with their friends, their grades at school, and even their future. This is why we find so important the topic. And well, now we'll provide you some arguments to help you understand why we do agree with this resolution. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, we would like to clarify that we are not in favor of bullying. We are against a zero-tolerance approach towards bullying. Does zero-tolerance work in schools? Zero-tolerance began as a law calling for bringing a gun onto school property. However, it's quickly more...
No pasa nada, esto es en vivo. ¿Estás bien?
No me pegó.
Ok. No estuvo preparado. Do you want to start again? Do you want to start all over? Sí, vamos a sacarla. Mejor.
However, it's quickly morphed into a policy that deals with bullying, drugs, alcohol, and any act of violence, be it physical, verbal, or attitudinal. In some school districts, zero tolerance has become synonymous with we don't want to put up with any sort of nonsense. Such policies impose severe consequences for violations, and in some cases, this is doing more harm than good. As the greenhouse, we believe that schools should not take a zero tolerance approach towards bullying, and we have made several arguments to support this opinion.
Well, as you may know, bullying is a repetitive action, and the after effects are usually traumatic and long lasting. Generally, boys and girls who were and are victims of bullying present symptoms of depression, such as sadness or loss of interest in some activities, symptoms of anxiety like tension, fear, worries, and they can also have loss of self esteem. Sometimes it increases their behavior in an aggressive way, and depending the case, some people who were bullied in their childhood present psychological problems in their adulthood. They can present symptoms like including going distress or maybe self-blame, fear, and some internalized problems that can end up like depression. Contrary to popular opinion, bullying does not start and ends at school, if not that it continue outside the school environment, unless there is an intervention from, for example, school or an institution. People who bully need to be helped to change their interpersonal patterns before they become deeply ingrained and reach the point to have problems like behavior disorders or symptoms of like depressive symptoms. Thank you.
As our first argument, we are going to talk about the zero tolerance and how it can hurt the victim of bullying. Let's imagine this scenario. There is a child that has been being bullied for quite some time, and by far this type of bullying has been humiliation and abuse. But today it gets physical. The bullies decide to attack this child, and of course, the child decides to defend itself. So a teacher sees this situation and decides to take all of the people involved to the principal's office. The principal has no other option but to expel everyone that was involved because of these zero tolerance policies, since you can't be physical aggressive. There happened a real scenario like this. There was this little girl that had her lunchbox, and she had a knife because she needed to cut her apple. She seized the knife and decides to give it to a teacher, and she ends up being expelled because she had a knife. I mean, these policies are even punishing people who have good intentions.
Well, well, our second argument is peer development. You know, adults are generally unaware of most of the bullying situations some children may suffer, and unfortunately, sometimes they are their own child. For example, there was a study made in an elementary school where the teachers were observed to only have intervened in 11% of all the bullying scenarios and incidents that happen in their own classroom. That's less of the half of the cases. In another study made in another school, all the teacher and school staff were again observed to have only been involved in a 4% of all the cases.
the own students were asked to see why they thought that happened, they say three main causes, being the first one, the teacher not being present during the scene. The other one was the teacher observing the scene, seeing the situation, but not recognizing it as bullying behavior. And the last one was the teacher seeing the situation but not doing anything about it. Students need all adults to play a major role in the solving of the bullying problems that can be seen. In fact, most of the children who are bullied have to tell themselves, their parents and a responsible adults, what's going on. And we, as the White House, we feel that the child, that's not incorrect, that's not wrong, but we think that the parent or the responsible adult should recognize that, should be more present to notice that by their own, because it takes a lot of time for a kid to open their heart and to tell the truth about what's going on, because it's a very difficult and rough situation for everyone. And the parent seeing this and taking account of it would save a lot of times, and in some cases would save even trouble and more problems.
Our second argument is that the zero tolerance policy can take away a Our second argument is that the zero tolerance policy can take away the teacher's autonomy to settle minor incidents and prevent bullying. Imagine this scenario: a kindergarten class having free play, and in the course of play, a little boy says to another, "I'm going to kill you." The teacher would really like to take the opportunity to use this as a teaching moment. She could talk to the students about what words mean, how some phrases can't be used, and how singling out one person can be considered bullying. But under the zero tolerance policy, she is required to report the incident to the administrator. The administrator then deals with the child as though he genuinely made a death threat. This also means that it doesn't take age into account. These policies require a curious kindergarten to be treated the same way as an older student actually determined to bully or cause harm, which it obviously is not the case.
Well, bullying can exist in many forms. It can be physical, like pushing or hitting someone. It can be verbal, such as insulting or threatening. And it can also be psychological or emotional, by spreading rumors or simply excluding someone from an activity or from a conversation. The first step to create an anti wait, sorry. The first step to create an zero tolerance anti-bullying policy could be to make like an assessment of the needs of the institution. Like my opponent said before, they were talking about a scenario about that a girl have a knife, but maybe some needs of the institution could be that little girls don't take knives to school because that can be dangerous. And then this can help to determine the school position in when they have to confront a case of bullying. The main objective of this could be to know the basic aspects of a case of bullying, like the how, the when, the who, why, and this can be achieved from surveys like questionnaires or maybe interviews from students, and also can teachers provide like ratings of the students' behavior in their classes. Thank you.
I want to start by saying that in the scenario that we mentioned, it was actually real, and the kid didn't decide to put the knife in there. It was her mom, and she knew that it was wrong, so she gave it to the teacher, but still got punished. Our third argument is about how zero tolerance policies can discriminate um, the students with special needs. Students with behavioral and emotional disabilities are often disciplined by these policies. Under special education law, each case needs to be dealt with individuality and flexibility. Those flexible solutions aren't always helpful. For example, you have a student who needs a routine in order to function and comes from a rough home environment. If you suspend or expel this student, you wouldn't be helping them. We've read in an article about a situation between a student and a teacher in which the student threatened a teacher, and of course the student came from an abusive family. So they decided to suspend the student, but after lunch, the student was back again in the classroom with all his classmates. Of course, this was because you wouldn't want to send a child that has an abusive family back home for doing something wrong.
Okay, thank you. Now each house will have 1 minute to deliver their closing statements. Paco?
Well, return, uh, well, returning for a last time to that scenario, we are talking about an assessment rules that for will not permit anyone to put a knife there. So it doesn't matter whether it was the child, the girl, or the mother, it would be forbidden to not let things happen like a suspension in the future. Now, in conclusion, with our house, we think we can say that the bullying itself not being stopped has a lot of different causes, but the solution for stopping bullying, the numbers of solutions are equal. So there is still a way out, and we should all pull that trigger, and we should all take that road to to at least attempt to stop it. Now, I think it's a great moment to recognize to ask for anybody to. We should all help everyone who might be going through rough times in the school or in their houses to prevent bad things from happening, and schools ought to do that as well. Thank you all so very much.
So, we would like to clarify before ending that this zero tolerance policy caused a child with good intentions, like bringing a knife to cut her apple, to be punished. So to sum up, we believe that a zero tolerance policy regarding bullying it's a bit extreme. The system should punish those who really mean harm, but to expel a kid who was making a joke, it's not necessary. And we are not encouraging kids to joke about this matter, but instead of immediately taking action, maybe people should talk first and find out what the reason behind the bullying was and offer help. Thank you.
Okay, let's clap for them. Congratulations to both houses. You've been amazing. Whoever wins, you did great today. So let's give some minutes to the judges.
bueno, mientras los jurados toman una decisión, momento para agradecer a los chicos, muy buen laburo. Y además quiero agradecer, que no dijimos nada antes, bueno, toda la gente que nos ayudó. Los jurados en primer lugar que están allá atrás, Romy y Silvina rompiéndose la cabeza, pensando quién estuvo mejor. Todos los chicos que estuvieron presentes hoy, muchas gracias a todos chicos. Tercer año que está por allí. Sexto que está en el fondo mirando. Cuarto que recién hizo su debate. Los compañeros de quinto de los chicos que están acá sentados a ambos lados. Y me alegra mucho ver cómo los chicos se enganchan con actividades como esta, porque es una materia, es obligatoria. Creemos que ayuda en un montón de destrezas, creemos que es una buena oportunidad para trabajar en algunos proyectos en equipo. También entendemos que a muchos alumnos pueden no interesarle y que lo terminan haciendo porque hay que hacerlo. Y sin embargo, a la hora de terminar, presentar y ocuparse, muchos chicos se enganchan y lo hacen con entusiasmo, con muchas ganas y con ganas de hacerlo cada vez mejor y mejor, así que gracias a todos ustedes. A los que están presentes acá y a los que estuvieron participando en debates durante todo el año, chicos, muchas gracias, muy buen trabajo. Y después, bueno, gracias también a la dirección por ayudarnos con todo esto. Gracias a Agus, el tequi, que está allá en el fondo, Agus, por todo el equipo. Y a mi colega Ana, que da debate en clase en quinto año conmigo. Así que muchas gracias. Good job. ¿Y los jurados están listos? ¿Quieres llevar un micrófono? A ver si... Ahora los jurados nos van a decir los puntos totales que sumaron los dos equipos. De vuelta, ¿cómo era? White House a la izquierda, Affirmative. Greenhouse, Negative a la derecha. La resolution era Schools should have a zero tolerance towards bullying, lo que quiere decir que las escuelas tendrían que tener un acercamiento hacia el bullying de tolerancia cero.
Okay, so it was really tough. We really liked both of them. They made me change my mind. When one team was talking, I was, oh yes, they are right. And then when the other team was talking, oh yes, they are right. Okay, but we had to come to an agreement. And so this one is White House. 27 points. Well done. And the Greenhouse, 29.
Wow.
So congratulations.
2 points.
Congrats, Greenhouse.
Great, people.
Congrats, Whites. Good job. Ok, wonderful. So, esto va concluyendo nuestro evento entonces. Chicos, muchas felicitaciones. Silvina lo dijo en inglés. Los chicos de la Casa Blanca obtuvieron 26. 27, gracias. Lo dijo en inglés. 27 puntos y 29 para la Casa Verde. Son 2 puntitos nada más. Y de hecho, dicho sea de paso, llegar a esta ronda tampoco fue fácil porque la Casa Amarilla iba nada más que a 2 puntos de diferencia después de 2 rondas. Así que fue muy peleado todo el año. Igual lo más interesante es escucharlos debatir y utilizar sus habilidades del inglés y trabajar sobre todas estas cosas. Así que muy buen trabajo todos. ¿Vos querés decir algo? Ah, te vi con el micrófono. Ok. Bueno, vamos a ir concluyendo este evento hoy. Muchas gracias a todos, chicos. Nos veremos el año... Ah, los chicos allá arriba también. Guys. Tenemos hinchada en el piso. Bien. Así que bueno, espero que la hayan pasado bien. De vuelta, un aplauso para todos. Muchas gracias por estar. Y nos vemos en el aula para lo que queda del año. Guys, ¿quieren pararse? Ven. Muy peleado, ¿verdad?